Welcome back to another episode of the NC Squared Conspiracy Podcast. My name is Simon.
I'm Chance.
This is actually a miniature episode.
Minicast.
A mini-cast, as we have deemed them. It might not be as many as some of the others. They were initially supposed to be like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then they've turned into like 20 to 30 to, I think one of them was like 45 minutes long.
Meh.
So they vary. We're going to talk about an unmarked ship and an unmarked van that I saw with me own eye when I was staying in Pensacola, Florida this previous week. Before we talk about that, I just want to thank our patrons for their monetary support of this podcast. They pay for our RSS hosting fees so that you can listen to us in your ears right now. They pay for the beer that we are drinking right now and the pizza that we ate before right now.
Yeah.
So thank you. I also like to thank all of our listeners, all of our new followers on Twitter and Facebook. We've had some new ones rolling in. That's awesome. Just want to reach out to y'all and thank you.
Yeah, and all of our old fans too.
Said y'all because I do sometimes, but it's special.
I'm the y'all guy.
I came back from Florida, so
oh, that's fair.
I got my drawl on.
All right.
Exactly. But anyhow,
simmer down now.
When I was staying in Pensacola, Florida, I was at a table with some people, and there were mutterings of a ship that was harbored, dry harbored, meaning it has been partially lifted out of the water, in downtown Pensacola. And I was told that it was Elon Musk's boat that was going to be used for SpaceX endeavors and the retrieval of first stage rocket boosters.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
They've been doing that for a while.
A little bit.
That's what I was told. So I was actually told that by multiple people. And then I looked it up online and...
After you got back.
No, I looked it up when I was there, too.
Oh, okay.
And there are multiple sources that confirmed that it was Elon Musk's boat that was there in the harbor.
Okay.
And there was actually, like, a couple of people that told me they heard on the news that this was Elon Musk's boat. This is an unmarked ship. I keep saying boat. He said some people get offended by that. This is a 600-foot-long ship.
Freighter, yeah.
Exactly.
Freighter ship.
When I heard this, I was shocked because just days prior, I was standing not 50 yards from this ship, staring at it, thinking to myself, that's a big ship. But I didn't think twice about it. So then when I was sitting there at the table and I heard someone say that it belonged to Elon Musk, that blew my mind. And I had to go back and look at it again.
With new eyes.
With new eyes. With my conspiracy eyes on, because they told me it belonged to SpaceX and Elon Musk. And so a few more days roll by. We did go back and we did look at it. Mm-hmm. Upon further inspection, they were correct. There's no markings on it, which I noticed the first time, but I was like, it's a cargo ship.
Yeah.
You know, what
but they usually have to have a name.
They do, but like, you know, what do you expect out of a cargo ship? I was looking at it with my regular eyes.
And plus, if it's dry dock, they might be doing work on it.
Right, exactly. It was having work done on it, and I guess that was the whole point. But I went back expecting this, and I took quite a few pictures of it, and I'm going to post these pictures, I will have posted these pictures in the week leading up to the release of this episode. So if you follow us on Facebook or Twitter, hopefully you've seen these photos. And if you don't follow us on Facebook or Twitter, go give it a look because I took quite a few pictures and a video of this ship. And they're available for you guys to look at if you haven't seen it before.
Yeah.
Just to kind of give you guys an idea of what it looks like and why I found it so fascinating because, as I said, it's a big ship.
Now... Okay, so let's go a little bit into like what the ship's purpose would be.
So the purpose of the ship for SpaceX would be the retrieval of first stage rocket boosters for missions that they were sending out of our atmosphere, essentially. And the whole point
their retrieval program.
They're retrievals. The whole point of that is that rockets are very expensive to manufacture, and leading up to, well, this has kind of been going on for like a decade now, but leading up to this, you would build a rocket and it would launch the top portion of the rocket into space and the rest of it would fall into the ocean, and that was that. And it would oftentimes be too damaged to reuse, or they were just built to be disposable.
Yeah.
And we're talking like millions, billions,
Yeah.
millions, billions, millions and billions.
Enough money to where it was worth it to recover them.
Enough money that it was worth it. And even up into 2015, there are sources online and the articles are still up saying that it was completely useless to develop reusable rocket boosters because it just wasn't feasible. It was impossible to make it in a way that would benefit you monetarily. And as you know about companies like SpaceX, they don't like using the word impossible.
And they don't like using money that's not going to be able to at least be regained in some sense.
That is true. If they're doing it, you bet there's a reason for it. Elon Musk's a fairly...
He's a smart
He's
man.
a fairly money-savvy guy. Exactly. But everybody has since proven those people wrong. It is actually like a staple in the operation of a lot of aerospace companies.
Well, it's the future of actual like interplanetary
Yes, if there is any hope, and there is, for personal space flight or commercial space flight, it will involve reusable rockets.
Yeah.
In the same way that Delta Airlines and like that sort of thing.
Well,
It's not a one-use plane. A lot of these planes are actually quite old.
You never see movies where aliens come to us and they're like, well, we used half of our ship and it's just expendable by the time we get to you. Like, no,
Exactly.
these ships are supposed to be all-inclusive, capable of like reusability.
Right. And we haven't. People like Elon Musk have successfully landed these portions of their rockets that they were hoping to save and been able to reuse them.
Yeah.
And it's quite the sight to watch. If you look it up on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, it's a
just
cool video.
looking at it and keeping in mind how big these things are that they're landing, it's incredible. And so going and seeing this boat again with my conspiracy theorist eyes on was really important to me. So we go and look at it, and in the pictures you can see there are two flags on it. There's an American flag, and there was a flag that I was told, again, by people online and multiple people in person, that it was the SpaceX flag, but I hadn't seen it yet. So I went and I took pictures of it, and it turns out it's not the SpaceX flag. The SpaceX flag says SpaceX.
Yeah. And it has like a little rocket and an X.
And it's got like a little chevron thing on it, as aeronautical companies like to do. They put chevrons in everything. That's a whole different conspiracy. But this was the Marshall Islands flag. And I have nothing to say about that, other than it wasn't the SpaceX flag.
Dun, dun, dun.
Exactly. So disproven. But we had to do some more research on this.
Yeah.
Find out what the boat was, because there's no markings on it. It has been painted over. I couldn't tell that. I think I told you. In person, you couldn't really tell. But in the pictures I got from some angles, you could see where they painted over the words on the front of the boat.
Yeah, yeah.
So it did have a name on it at one point. I can't remember the company name.
Stena Freighter.
Stena is the company.
Stena.
They are the world's largest manufacturer of cargo vessels, essentially.
Makes sense.
They have vessels that go all over the world. That's what they do. They make some of the biggest and some of the best. And so I started looking up aerospace companies that might have this. First, I started looking up SpaceX Stena boat,
Yeah.
and there was none. And I got to thinking about it. Why would SpaceX buy a used cargo
They have
ship?
an unmanned.
They have
barge.
unmanned autonomous drones that do that for them.
Yeah.
So why would they be doing that? Turns out it doesn't belong to Elon Musk. Quite the contrary. It actually belongs to the competition, Blue Origin.
The largest competition, isn't
The
it?
largest competition. Yeah, there's more companies out there that are,
But they're like number 2.
that have similar goals in mind, but they are considered number 2, and by many investors considered number 1. Actually.
Oh, okay.
So Blue Origin, founded by Jeff Bezos. Bezos. If you know, you know. He's the owner of Amazon, and he owns Blue Origin.
Well, all right. Just speak on the fact that these million billionaires of these large Goliath companies, they're all getting into the space race, man. That's weird. It's funny. It's funny because
it
like
is the future.
You got Virgin Mobile, who built the Virgin or started the Virgin Galactic company,
Right. Yep. Virgin Galactic,
Blue Origin, and SpaceX.
Blue Origin, SpaceX, and there's quite a few more that I can never remember the name of.
But people want to get to space, and it's these big companies. There must be something there.
Well, in Blue Origin's own words, if you get onto their website and you listen to some of their videos or watch some of their promotional videos, their idea is that if we want to continue expanding as a society and as humans on the planet, eventually we will have to cap our population and we will have to cap our fuel consumption. And those are going to be the two main things that eventually stop the expansion of mankind.
Okay.
If you are a company that thrives off of more and more people paying for your services and buying things from you,
Yeah.
a cap isn't good because that means the end.
Yeah.
And when you have a company like Amazon, I forget how many billions of trillions of packages they've shipped. I saw a number a while ago and it was shocking, but I believe it because I've probably ordered 100 myself and I don't consider myself an avid online shopper.
Yeah.
When you think of how many millions of people are doing it, it's crazy. We have an Amazon facility showing up right here, right now in Spokane.
Yeah.
And all over the place. And they're paying people to like open private shipping companies so that they can hopefully, they want everybody, every Prime member, Amazon Prime, that's like their, you know, their like membership or whatever.
Yeah.
They want you to get your package the next day, no matter what you order. That's crazy to me.
It is.
I've done like the 30-day Prime thing and like, sure enough, I get my package like 2 days. Doesn't matter if it's a Sunday, nothing. Doesn't matter if it's a holiday, they get you your package like immediately. I think that's cool. But anyhow, for like a company like that, having a cap on population and a cap on fuel consumption is not a good thing.
Yeah.
And they are saying that if we want to continue expanding, we're going to have to do it elsewhere. And they believe that the key to doing that is dramatically decreasing the cost of spaceflight commercially and personally.
Yeah.
And doing that involves, like we were talking about before, retrieving parts of your rockets and reusing them.
Yeah.
Like with commercial flights, like airplanes, as you know, it's pretty expensive to fly, and they reuse those planes. So think of how expensive it is to go to space.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But that's their whole gig, is that's what they think they need to do. They call it decreased cost for increased access. That's their business model,
That's how most things work in the world.
with their goal to dramatically decrease the price of personal spaceflight, according to their website, and their mission, according to their website. I put commuted, but that was probably autocorrect. They are committed to committed to building a road to space so the children can build the future. That's their mission. Right.
I like it.
I
Sounds
like
legit.
that. That's good. And so it turns out this is their 600-foot boat that they're going to use for the same thing that Elon Musk has been using his autonomous barge for.
Yeah.
We actually, right before this, we got on and we watched a couple quite informative videos from The Verge.
Yeah.
Shout
Shout out to The Verge.
Shout out to The Verge, of course. A lot of people have heard of them. They're a pretty big channel. But I've seen some of their videos before. But it was just talking about, you know, why would you want to land your rockets on the ocean
Oh, yeah.
as opposed to landing them on land? And it's because landing them on land isn't always an option.
Yeah. Well,
Rocket-
fuel consumption goes up.
Fuel consumption goes up. Rockets travel at an arch, and if they're traveling at an arch over the ocean away from land, they need to have enough fuel to be able to get back to land in order to land on land.
Dun, dun, dun.
I was at a lot of lands. And so the obvious option is to then try and land them on the ocean, as SpaceX has been doing with their autonomous barges.
Yeah, because instead of having to turn around and come back to land, it can just fall naturally into
Exactly.
the ocean.
And SpaceX has landed them on the ocean before successfully.
Yeah.
And they've landed them on land before successfully. Actually, in April of 2019, the year we are currently, I'll call it living. We're currently living in, is the first time they landed all three portions of their stage 1 rocket successfully. One was on the ocean on one of their unmanned barges, and the other two, which are the two side parts that come off of the main booster, they landed on land. All three landed successfully. It was a huge deal. That is a huge deal.
It is.
Watching just one of them land is like the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Because it's not like they're scrapping these things out. They can reuse them.
They reuse them, and it's such a huge cost saver.
Yeah.
It's like...
millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's a really big deal. Blue Origin has, up to this point, as far as I can tell, I'm pretty sure, has only landed them on land so far because they don't have a boat. Mm-hmm. Now they have a boat.
Dun, dun.
They bought this big boat, and I felt honored to have seen this big boat, even though I thought it belonged to Elon Musk, which would have been cool. And I was like, you know...
But this is a little bit cooler.
This is a little bit cool.
This is competition, and competition drives progress.
Exactly. And being a conspiracy channel, it is just great to me that everyone told me it was Elon Musk's boat. And they told me that the news said it belonged to Elon Musk. So that's either like, you know, the telephone game goes through a couple word of mouth and then it gets...
Spread.
Doesn't work out. Or maybe the local news station actually did just say that it was Elon Musk's because that's what they heard. And as far as like news stations are concerned, aerospace company.
False news.
False news.
False news.
Fake news, as they like to say. But yeah, like you said, this is the competition. I think it was kind of cool. It was very cool to see. It was massive.
It seems massive.
It's 600 feet long. Like I said, it's not
600 feet
This
tall.
isn't a dinghy. It's a boat. It's a ship. I thought it was really cool to see. And I think that's the conspiracy part of it. I was psyched to be involved in this very small conspiracy.
Small conspiracy telephone game.
Exactly, because everyone was telling me that it belonged to Elon Musk, and I believed them enough that I went back to take pictures and videos. And then later, upon inspecting and studying these pictures and videos, and also just doing a more thorough search on Google, but there are some places online that does say it belongs to Elon Musk.
Which is funny.
They're not good sources, apparently. It definitely belongs to Blue Origin. And that was cool. Unmarked ship.
Yeah, very cool.
Who does it belong to? Blue Origin.
Blue Origin.
It is currently docked downtown Pensacola. You can see it. You can see it from like anywhere downtown because currently in its dry docked state, it is like taller than all the buildings downtown. So you can see it from like anywhere. It's pretty cool. It's actually, it was put there in 2018. That is when it was purchased from the company that manufactured this boat.
Yeah.
It is a used cargo ship known as a RoRo, a roll-on, roll-off cargo ship. And you told me that means that there's a rolling crane on it that can load and unload.
Well, that or it's meant for roll-on cargo is what it is.
Meant for roll-on cargo. So that makes sense if you're going to have to roll a rocket off.
When you land it on the barge portion, you're going to have to take it off. So
yeah.
It's probably far too valuable to just attach a bunch of chains to it and try to just crane it down.
Yeah.
So you're going to actually just kind of like the space shuttle moves on a barge kind of like rolling system. It's probably going to do the same thing.
Gotcha. If you look at the pictures that we posted, you can find them on Twitter or you can find them on Facebook. And you compare those to pictures of the actual ship. The name of the ship is Freighter.
Yeah.
That's the name of it. It does look a little bit different. The reason it looks different is because it is currently dry docked, and it will be dry docked in Pensacola until 2021 because they're modifying it to be used for the purpose of retrieving these Stage 1 rocket boosters at sea. And so it does look different now. They have taken pieces off of it, and they have added things to it. But like I said, in the pictures, you can see where they painted over the name. They've already painted over the name on it. If you compare the two, you can tell it is the same ship, but they have taken pieces off of it. There were people on the boat when I was taking pictures. I even got one picture of a dude like looking at me and stuff. It was pretty funny. It was like, I just felt funny being there.
Yeah.
Taking pictures.
Because they're staring at you like, who are you to be taking pictures?
And I like go and I like jump in this minivan that we have and we drive away. It was pretty, I felt alive. So looking this up, like I said earlier, that some people think that Blue Origin is kind of number one in the industry. It is more widely accepted that they're kind of number 2 in the industry.
They're probably seen as number 1 by investors because their rocket has probably provided some type of profitable situation.
There are investors. It is a privately funded company. Jeff Bezos himself, he has said that he will be selling off $1 billion of Amazon stocks every single year until they have commercial space flight available. He will be selling $1 billion of his own Amazon stocks in order to fund it himself. So he's putting $1 billion a year in, and I believe this year and next year specifically, he's going to be doing like $1.2 billion because he's trying to
speed it up a bit.
They said the first one that they're going to land at sea is going to be in 2021. That's why it's dry docked right now and going through all of these modifications because they want it to be ready in 2021 to sail out and be available for that.
Yeah.
Privately funded. So SpaceX. You can't buy SpaceX stocks. It's also privately funded. So anytime you have something like that, you can look up Elon Musk is crazy, and there will be like 1 million people and like all sorts of credible sites that are telling you why Elon Musk is crazy and why SpaceX won't succeed. You can do the same thing with Blue Origin. There's 1 million people out there that'll tell you why Jeff Bezos is crazy and Blue Origin will never succeed and SpaceX is the best, or the Virgin Aeronautics is the best, or
Virgin Galactic.
Virgin Galactic. I like that name best. I'm just going to put that out there. I think that's probably the best name. But you can find people like that anywhere you look.
Most innovators are deemed a little crazy.
That's true. And when you're doing something as far out there as commercial space flight, you're deemed to have some people think that.
Dude, if commercial flight, like space flight, comes in my lifetime, I'm getting a ticket.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking like they want it to happen in the next couple of years. And I think it's really cool because you hear like kids all the time say they want to go to the moon, they want to go to Mars and stuff like that.
I don't even care if it's just out into like the ISIS kind of like ISS like area. I said ISIS, but I meant ISS.
Well, yeah, the International Space Station.
Yeah. Well, ISIS is completely different.
I know what you're talking about. We knew what you were talking about.
ISS. Like, even if it's out there to where you just can see space and Earth from this, like, step back away kind of thing.
Right.
Also be like, is it flat?
Is it flat? Exactly.
But,
well, that's kind of...
That'd be amazing.
That's Blue Origin's goal, is they want to bring people right to the edge of Earth's atmosphere so that they can get the weightlessness sensation, and also they can see into space firsthand.
Yeah.
That's like their goal, whereas SpaceX's goal and their retrieval of rockets, they put things into orbit. And also, obviously, SpaceX is trying to put people on Mars, and they're saying they're going to do that like pretty soon. But I think it's cool because kids are always saying they want to go to the moon or they want to go to Mars, and you can like crouch down on their level and be like, you know what, son, maybe one day you will.
Maybe one day you will.
You can say that, and actually it's not a straight up lie.
Exactly.
People have always said that, but I can say it, and maybe there's just like a little twinkle of truth in my eye, and that'll inspire a child to maybe grow up and be an astronaut.
Whether you come back is a different plan.
That's true. Well, NASA thinks they're going to be able to send people there and bring them back. Elon Musk is just going to send people there and figure out the rest later.
That sounds like Elon.
That's a ballsy plan, but he had people sign up for it, so it must be good.
Probably had millions of people sign up for it.
Yeah, I'm getting sidetracked. Back to the topic at hand. It is considered by the majority of people that Blue Origin is a ways behind the curve as far as this technology is concerned.
Yeah.
And that raises concerns because SpaceX, they have autonomous barges, which is impressive in itself that they are currently landing rockets on. Whereas Blue Origin just bought a used 20-year-old, I believe it was started construction in 1997 and it was first launched in 1998. So this is like a 20-year-old ship that they are converting for the use of the same thing. This ship is not autonomous.
No, it's going to have a crew.
There is a full crew of people. You can see in the pictures, there's like the portion where, I don't know what the captain's quarters, I'm going to call it, is like this giant thing encased in glass and stuff like that, Whereas SpaceX's barges are just a big, it's just a big flat piece of concrete. It looks like a landing pad.
Yeah.
This is straight up a boat. It's way out of the water. It's not low to the ground or anything like that. And there is actually a raised portion where the boat is piloted. Sailed? Steered from?
Sure. Let's go with all of them.
Yeah, there's an area where the boat is captained from.
Captained from.
And a lot of people are concerned about that because there's videos of SpaceX failing because there's always failures. Yeah. Nothing against space. I like SpaceX. I'm going to put that out there.
Me too.
Nothing against them. There are videos of them failing to land their rockets, and it is like an explosion from the movies.
Yeah.
But there's nobody on those boats, and they're also a giant slab of concrete.
Yeah, so no biggie.
This is a 20-year-old
600-foot
barge.
Like
exactly.
Full crew on deck kind of situation.
There is going to be a crew on deck as far as we know right now. There's going to be a crew on deck where this rocket is supposed to be landing. And on top of that, it's considerably smaller landing area-wise than SpaceX's barge that they land on.
So essentially, if they tip over their rocket and it blows up,
people could be injured.
Yeah. Or killed.
And people think that this is like a really hasty plan to try and catch up with SpaceX. And that maybe it's not the best thing safety-wise.
It's either that or overconfidence.
Overconfidence is a thing. People say about, any of these companies, like you were saying, but people say about SpaceX or Blue Origin, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos have lofty claims. That's what the media says. They have lofty claims about their companies. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think you should shoot for the stars.
Yeah.
Literally.
Figuratively.
And figuratively and metaphorically. But people think that this is a bad attempt to catch up and they're risking people's safety. Now, that's just what people are saying. I don't think it would be too difficult to maybe can you get people off the ship when it comes down to land? But then what happens if it just blows up the ship?
Well, you'd have to anchor the ship and then, you'd have to basically move the crew onto another ship, which is not saving cost.
That is not cost saving.
And then you'd have to move that ship a safe distance away to where if it did explode, someone's not getting shrapnel in the eye.
Right. Talk about cost saving. They didn't build an autonomous barge. They bought a used cargo ship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so which I get because cost saving is a thing. Cost saving is not necessarily a bad thing. It's almost always used in bad context when it comes to this sort of thing, and that's because safety's involved.
Yeah.
But in reality, I don't know, isn't Jeff Bezos the richest man in the world?
Yeah, I think we were
Can he not afford an autonomous barge? Google says he's the richest man in the world if you look it up. But
what is it, like 131 million or billion rather?
130 something $billion and selling off $1 billion of net worth every single year in order to, I guess that's still his net worth. He's putting it into his own company.
Yeah, exactly.
But, and a lot can change with this boat because it's dry docked until 2021. So we still got another got another 2 full years, and I'm excited to see what changes about it.
Maybe he does make it autonomous. He's like, this is a giant transformer, guys.
Right, exactly.
It literally can drive itself.
Back in 2016, when the boat was initially sold, you can look it up online. There's a bunch of sites like marinedata.com and stuff like that, where legally they have to provide info on these ships. You can see where they've docked in the past and where they're going, where they've gone, that sort of thing. It was sold to an unlisted buyer. It didn't come out until 2018 that it was actually bought by Blue Origin. It was kept a secret for 2 years.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome.
That's impressive in its own.
That's impressive. How do you keep a 600-foot ship a secret?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Shows up in a harbor and the harbor master's like, what is this?
Right. I think, I'm excited to see what happens to it in the next 2 years because the ship could completely change. It could be made autonomous.
That'd be cool.
It could be converted to be more of a barge-like thing, but that won't change the fact that it's not nearly as wide as the barge that SpaceX lands on.
And it's not nearly as cheap.
Right. It freaks me out a little bit because Amazon is in the pursuit of getting money from individuals for an experience. And it seems to me like they're trying to rush it. They're buying a used ship and converting it rather than creating their own technology to do this with.
Yeah.
They have only recently figured out how to land on land with their rockets, and
Which is about like a quarter of the size of the Falcon 9.
That's right. It's significantly smaller than the rockets, and well, that could be part of why the ship is able to be smaller too.
True.
And it has significantly less thrust as well.
Yeah, like
right. It was like
100,000 versus the Falcon 9's
like
1.5 million.
Yeah, like 100. It was 100,000 pounds of thrust versus 1.5 million pounds of thrust in the Falcon.
And the 100,000 is max. Like,
right.
That's not even like consistent.
Exactly. So that's true. That's a valid point. The fact that it is a lot smaller and it has a lot less thrust, maybe they don't need as much space.
Yeah, sure.
But it does. SpaceX has these giant autonomous barges, and you've seen the picture of their ship with the giant net. Looks like something out of Halo.
I know,
and it just seems like they've got their ideas in place and they're like developing them. Meanwhile, I told you, I thought it was just a standard boat until someone told me about it.
Yeah.
I didn't even take a picture of it because it just looked like a big cargo boat. It was impressive, but now I know like they're planning to do some heavy stuff with this. That's a little freaky. Mm-hmm. It's a little freaky.
I think they'll be fine with the smaller stuff.
I think you're probably right.
I think they're just trying to figure out the ocean thing.
Yeah, well, it's the future, definitely. Yeah. Because as soon as they figured out how much fuel they could save, people don't realize, you think like gas for your car is expensive? Upwards of $3 a gallon.
Rocket fuel.
Yeah, I mean, like here in Spokane, it's upwards of $3 a gallon often. A few years ago, it was upwards of $4 a gallon.
Isn't it like 4 or 5 in California?
I've heard that, and like New York can get really expensive, but it's like 3 something here. And a couple of years ago, when I started driving, it was like 4 something.
And these things use thousands of gallons of jet fuel, and like
taking
seconds.
Off and landing is the most expensive part.
Yeah,
it is. Like in an airplane, the most expensive part is taking off, right?
I want to look it up now, how much fuel is used.
It's very expensive, and it's specialized fuel that a lot of times these companies have developed themselves. So any amount of fuel saving that they can make is extremely beneficial to them. But anytime it comes to a consumer, we'll call it a consumer product like that, making it as low cost as you can and charging as much as you can for the premium experience is a good thing. But there's definitely a point at which you take that too far and you have to wonder if they are, putting people's safety at risk. I think they would need to have a way to get people off the boat before the rocket landed, even being smaller, right?
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. The Falcon 9's fuel mass, because it's solid rocket fuel, is... What's that?
Closer to the mic.
Yeah.
You're fading out.
I'm fading out.
Getting further away from the mic.
Oh, God. It was probably because I was talking downwards.
No, you're good.
But the Falcon 9's fuel mass is 549,000 kilograms.
Wow.
That's a lot. It says cost per launch is $62 to $50 million.
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah. The $62 million was the initial cost in 2016, and in 2018 it was $50 million. So they cut it by about $12 million.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money if you're doing
Considering that's just...
If you're doing it like once a month even.
Yeah.
Like that's a massive amount of money saved.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. And the fact that they're able to save pieces and parts of the rockets and reuse them now, I think is very cool. I think it's a shame how many people online who clearly know nothing about it. We know nothing about the science of it either.
No.
But it's an absolute shame that so many people online talk about how what they're doing is impossible and they shouldn't be doing it at all. I think that's just like, why would you put down someone who is trying to better civilization?
Yeah.
At least in, well, I don't know, Jeff Bezos' company, Blue Origin, that's questionable because they have said that they want to get people into space on like a personal level for the experience. And so that seems like more of a money grab to me.
Yeah.
But they say that they are, they said building the road paving the road to space so that the children can build the future, but they're really actually just charging people to get near out of orbit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, like Elon Musk was saying that he, with his development, he could launch people into space and they could be weightless for about 4 minutes before they would have to return.
Who?
Elon Musk, SpaceX.
Ah.
Like right now, Blue Origin's like is only like really capable of satellite launching.
I thought it was the other way around.
No, I'm pretty sure it was.
No, SpaceX does satellite launches. Blue Origin is the one that try and get people up for the experience.
Maybe it was that.
No, yeah, that's what I was saying is that Amazon, company that sells people products, is now coming up with a way to sell people the experience of going into space.
Yeah.
You know
That you're already paying for.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And, but yeah, that's another point. SpaceX goes significantly higher altitudes because they are, and in my opinion, doing a better service. I don't know.
Well, he's trying to get to Mars. So.
He's trying to get to Mars, but on top of that, he has been able to launch satellites into orbit and then return.
Yeah.
Whereas,
I mean, he launched a dang car.
he put a car in space. I watched that. I think we all were you there at work that day? We had it live on the computer when he put the car in space.
I was not at work for that day, but I did.
People
see
don't
it.
think that happened. They think it's a lie because space isn't real.
Well, yeah.
So they think that the video of his car and everything is fake. It was like, and they were like, why do you think he would put his own car into space? Why would you waste that kind of money? It was like, he's spending tens of millions of dollars to do this launch and like prove something to the world.
Why not put a car with some GoPros?
Why not put a $50,000 car with a couple GoPros into atmosphere? I definitely would.
Yeah.
For sure. And now if any aliens come down, first thing they're going to see is a Tesla, and they're like, that's a good-looking car.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh, the cats are trying to bust down the door.
Oh, God,
That's
no.
crazy. Oh, the van.
Yes.
We didn't talk about
I was
the
about to
van.
remind you.
So the first day I was there was no such van. The second time that we went back, I'll post pictures of this too, or I will have already posted pictures of this, so go check them out on Facebook. There was an unmarked black van right across. It was like right parked on the sidewalk next to where we were viewing this boat from.
Yeah.
And it was just like
A spray
your
painted.
classic old spray painted black van that was. It was just a black van, and in the window it said Area 51.
Yeah.
I just thought that was so funny. I should have put an NC squared conspiracy sticker on it, but why were they there?
Yeah, exactly.
It seemed oddly placed.
It was like, it was oddly placed, I bet you.
I know. I wish they would have been there. I peeked in and it was full of like garbage.
Maybe they're one of our listeners.
Oh God. I'm sorry. I wasn't looking in your car. I was just curious, like, if you have,
Why
like,
is an Area 51
do you have
van
like
here?
radio equipment in there or something? What are you doing?
You got to get on the show, man.
Got to get on the show. But I just thought that was hilarious to me that was a part of it.
After you learn that it's Elon Musk's, like, suddenly an Area 51
I thought it was
van.
Elon Musk's boat, and then there was an Area 51 black van, like right across from it. Conspiracy theorists, they're everywhere these days.
Yeah,
This is true.
that's because you can't trust everybody.
You can't trust anybody, actually. Nobody. The person in the room next to you, you can't trust him. There's no way.
Well,
That's pretty much it.
yeah,
I just wanted to talk about it.
it was a fun time.
I was worried at first it wasn't even going to be. I didn't even learn about the whole Blue Origin factor of it until recently. I thought that it was Elon Musk's boat. And so I was a little worried about talking about it because it wasn't really a conspiracy theory. But now it is. It was a very tiny conspiracy theory that I was a part of and my family was a part of. And I haven't even told them yet. So I'm hoping when they listen to it, they're gonna
Mind
be like,
blown.
oh my gosh, he does do research.
Of course we do.
We do a little bit of
We're
research.
just terrible at memory /
We're
we
drinking.
Yeah, we're drinking.
Give me a
We're-
break.
We got bad memories, and also this isn't scripted. We don't have like just like okay, well let's pause it here. Let's get ready for the next sentence.
Yeah, exactly. We tried, admittedly, pretty poorly.
Oh, no, it didn't go anywhere
Pretty
near
poorly. We
23
tried to do the
minutes.
thing on Twitter again where I tell people that we're recording and we ask people to share it. And then if you share it, then
I thought C-word.
I'm getting there. Give me a second.
Oh,
and then
sorry.
if you share it, we give you a shout out. And we got one, the C word. They followed through for us again. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. Thank you. Everybody, go and listen to their podcast. It's great. They do the similar stuff to what we do.
Yeah.
They're a conspiracy podcast. You can find them on Twitter. The C word, they're called. Go give them a listen. Thanks for sharing our stuff. Thanks to all of our listeners.
Thanks to all our followers.
Thanks to all of our new followers. I know, I got 2 new followers today, but no one reposted that. No one reposted the post?
I just hope they're listening to that podcast.
That's true. I just want it to work out.
Yeah.
It worked out great the first time, and we were like, wow, this is great. We're going to do this every time. And that was the only time it's worked. But we'll keep trying, and as we get new followers...
We'll tinker with it.
As we get new followers, it'll probably work more and more. Thank you to our followers. Thank you to our listeners. Thank you especially to our patrons who pay us to do this and make this possible so that you guys can hear it. Thanks for stopping by. Our last episode was on the pyramids. That was a fun one. So if you're interested in that, go back and give that a listen. This was supposed to be a miniature episode, and it turned into a not quite a full episode, but pretty dang close.
Oh, yeah.
Very interesting topic.
It is.
Topical topic.
Topical?
Might even do good because there's talk about SpaceX and Blue Origin in the media at the moment.
Either way, it was fun to talk about.
Fun to talk about. We enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. We're drinking. I hope you're drinking.
Yeah.
And I hope you've had pizza recently.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, y'all.
Pizzery.
You don't have to. Thanks for listening. Say goodbye.
Oh, bye-bye.
Goodbye.